Alright boys and girls, we've got a fun one today. I finally decided that the PTS had got to a point where I think most of the changes have happened already and I could start committing some time into builds and testing and all of that fun stuff. And we found some weird stuff, so we will get into that later on in the video, but this is more of a preview of what my build is going to look like next patch, more so than the exact build that I'll be running next patch. Generally I do these videos and the core of the build stays the same and we just tweak things around the outsides of it. But without further ado boys and girls, let's get into it. Alright, so on the back bar we're running Rallying Cry. This is pretty standard. Ever since I started using it, I haven't really gone back. It's pretty much the only way in the game to get a solid amount of crit resist, unfortunately. The armor trait kind of sucks, the CP kind of sucks, and you know, running a couple in pen here and there's not overly that bad, but if you want a lot of crit resist, you need to run Rallying Cry. The fact it can be a 1-bar set is even better, it's the cherry on top. Then things get not so normal on our front bar and we're running agility and you're like, agility in 2022? What the fuck is going on here? It will make sense. But yeah, we're running bow two-hander setup here. This may change to sword and board back bar. It just depends how our live testing goes. Then we are running Markin, hence the agility. It's giving us free procs. I've run a similar build to this in the past. It was my all-class build, and this is basically going to be the updated all-class build from a long time ago. The final, and I think the most important and most broken set, is Mara's Balm. This thing, day one of the PTS, we knew it was going to be strong. There was a lot of questions on how it exactly worked and what it classed as a negative effect. Was it dots? Was it this? Was it that? There was a lot of questions, but we do have them answered now. We've had them answered for a while. So the way it is functioning, is there no one else has got a great video on this? If you want a more detailed video on just this one set, I'll have it linked in the description. But it's proccing off all negative effects, dots, snares, anything like that. And on top of that, it's proccing if it just falls off and it doesn't need to be purged, basically. Now, we got some weird stuff and I still don't know what's going on. Alright, dumbass Johnny was about to go on about weird things we're getting with Balm where it wasn't healing the full amount and so on and so on. It turns out, and this is what I kind of thought initially, it was Bound with Nature, the Warden passive, the numbers just didn't line up. Now I can't get combat metrics working, that's kind of what's made this a bit more of a pain in the ass than it had to be. But Bound with Nature's 1260 or something like that, and we're getting a 1440 heal. I'm not quite sure why it's higher. I don't have any healing multipliers, but I'm positive that's what it is now. So I've cut the rest of that talk out and we'll pick the video up after that part. I don't know. Let me know in the comments section if you know what's going on here. It's super, super weird. Let's move on and have a look at our stats. So if I haven't said it already, we've gone for a crit spec again. I found crit healing on my DK's last build was just making us crazy tanky. I wanted to try and see if we could go down the route here with crit damage and crit healing. So keep that in mind when we look at these stats. 18.5k magic, 36.k health, and 24k stam. We'll play around with our max stam versus our max health pools a little bit later on because we are running polar. 900 mag recovery, nearly 1500 stam recovery. This isn't fully buffed, so this will go up. Weapon damage with Rallying Cry, we're looking at 6.4k. So on the lower end, it's not super low, it's not super high, but as I said, we've gone crit, so that's why it's a little bit lower than you might expect it to be. And then we're running 36% weapon crit. This will be higher, fully buffed as well. And our resistances are really solid here at 32.5k and 30k physical. We're very close to that 50% damage mitt from our resistances. And then we're at 3.4k crit resist. Now, I'll just throw this little tidbit in for any new players that are watching, and you've done a lot of PvE, and you know there's a resistance cap at 33.5 or 32.5, whatever it is. That is also semi-true for PvP. Penetration will bring that down. So if you have 40k and someone has 10k penetration, you only have 30k resistances, so you're not over the cap. Generally, in most scenarios, you don't want to go over 35k though, but that's just my opinion. Let's have a look at our skills, boys and girls. I don't think it's super important to go over every skill, as this is more of a preview than a full build video. Let's discuss the ones that I think warrant a discussion. Now, I've done videos, separate videos on the sub changes and also the Arctic changes. So I'll have them linked in the description if you want to go watch them. Pretty interesting results. We compared them from live to the PTS and also compared them to each other on the PTS. They are both Arctic and Polar Wind are both good morphs, and it's going to depend on your scenario which one you choose. It's not a case of one being crap and one being good. It's a case of what your build is, and a lot of it's going to come down to if you need the CC or if you don't have a crazy amount of health or you have a crazy amount of weapon damage. I highly recommend checking those videos out if you're more curious about that. Sub Assault is a lot more clear. The Magmorph has been used for a long time now because it just hits so much harder than the Stam Morph and gives you minor and major breach, which is about 15-16% extra damage to all your skills, plus it hits harder, plus you get 10% extra damage from your class skills, and then they just went and buffed it even more and left the Stam version in the dust. The Magmorph is going to be the go. It has been changed, so now on the initial hit has been nerfed compared to live, but also the Stam had been nerfed as well. The second hit, yes, they added the second hit back, comes 6 seconds after the initial hit, and it hits a lot harder. If you're curious on the exact numbers, there's a full video on that as well. I'm gonna probably run Polar in a lot of scenarios, and definitely the mag version of sub. We're running D-swing for our medium off balance. Obviously we've got our wings for our major expedition and our weapon damage multiplier. Pretty normal shit here. There's not much else to really say about it. I'm losing my voice, so let's wrap this video up. Now, I'm not going to discuss too much with food and CP and that. We'll leave that for the full build video. I do want to mention Mythic. Mythic is the one thing that probably will change in this build, or possibly could change in this build. I think Marking could be very good. Sea Serpents could be really good as well. And in any case that we drop Markin, we will go to a front bar, back bar, monster helm setup. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I think did I say Markin? I meant Death Dealer's Fate. Sea Serpents, I think, are the two options here. Sea Serpents, I think solo is just a little bit rough. You get caught out in the open, you can't line of sight, you get freaking 20v1, but there's a kind of point where you're not going to live in a 20v1 situation anyway, so what's the point if you can LOS for 10 seconds or you die straight there and you have a stronger build when you do find those 1v3s, 1v4s. So we will be playing around with Sea Serpents, we will be playing around with Death Dealers if I can be bothered farming it. But yeah, let me know in the comments, boys and girls, what you think. If you made it this far, a sub would be greatly appreciated. We either very close or may have even hit 2k subs by the time this video goes up. I'm definitely losing my voice, so let's wrap this up. As always, boys and girls, I love yous all. I'll catch yous in the next one. Peace.